Boys and Girls Podcast.
I'm Sissy Goff.
And I'm David Thomas, and we're so glad you joined us for this conversation. Let's dive in.
Timmons' life has always been one of adventure, but for the first time, the singer-songwriter feels awake enough to actually live it. After 2 decades of ministry and a lifetime of looking for Jesus, Timmons is no stranger to pain, cancer, sorrow, failure, joy, and hope. For most of my life, Tim shares, I found myself working for God and not walking with Him, which led to my tired soul desperately searching for more, saying, Jesus, is this all there is? This concept of the walking with Jesus permeates not only Timmons' music, but his daily life, a unique viewpoint shaped by an incurable cancer diagnosis he received 20 years ago when he was given 5 years to live. His condition is a doorway for countless healthy, life-giving conversations, but Tim has far more than a diagnosis to talk about. We get 10,080 minutes in a week. 80 of those are spent gathered in a room, which is awesome, but there are 10,000 other minutes in a week. The church gets to be the church all the time, gathered, then scattered, all in the name, power, and authority of Jesus. Timmons' greatest desire, whether the catalyst is his cancer diagnosis, theology, blog, or songs, is to keep the conversation going for people to discover the real life found with Jesus. You will love this conversation with Tim and his delightful wife, Hilary. We are so excited to get to sit down with you two and just have thought the world of you for so long. And I've told David so much. And so it's just really fun to get to sit down with y'all and ask you questions and Hilary get to know you better. And so we're very excited about this conversation.
She should talk more than I talk in this one. Yes.
Okay, we'll direct more questions.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah.
Please do.
Well, Hilary, will you start off talking a little bit about your family, your all stories, and how the two of you met?
Yes. So we met in college. We went to Point Loma Nazarene University.
I've heard great things about
Lots of years ago. It's a great school.
Yes.
I was his RA his freshman year.
Wow.
Don't worry about that.
Yes. Yep. I was engaged to someone else at the time. And, well, actually, back up. He was in my engagement because my fiance asked me in front of mandatory chapel in David Letterman style, top 10 reasons why Hilary Larson should marry Jeff Bolster.
No.
This guy was the drum roll.
No.
Yes. Long story short, he broke up with me shortly after, and he became my best friend. And after a while, we started dating and got married.
What a story.
What a great story.
I know.
Yeah.
What a bold guy to ask you in front of all those people.
Right.
Too.
And I'm not an upfront type, so I was a little like,
I bet.
oh.
Three of us were up on stage. You know, I'm doing the drum roll, top 10 reasons. And yeah, it was brilliant. Brilliant.
Wow.
Yep.
Then broke up. And then I was like, you know, I mean, he's a wonderful human, just not that bright. You know what I mean? And so I'm just so grateful. Yeah. So then it took 3 years. And then I'm like, I think I'm in love with you. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry. That sucks to be you. You know, one of those.
Really?
Yeah. Anyway,
initially.
Now we make out.
Yeah. And we've been married 27 years. We have 4 kids from 18 to 14, but those 14-year-olds are twins. So 14, 16, and 18.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Yeah. We're killing it. From California, Orange County, California.
Okay.
And then moved out here to Nashville 10 years ago.
Just 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. Wow.
I've been traveling here for
ever doing music.
20 years.
Yeah.
So.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
It's fun to hear.
Okay, and you have a social work degree, and you're an RN.
Yes.
And a mom. You're so overqualified to be a human in this world. Like, that is
true.
Unbelievable.
Yes.
So true.
Those first 2 parts feel like a past life. I haven't been practicing in a long time, but I was a NICU nurse early on. And yeah, I love being in the helping arenas in general. And so, but recently have been homeschooling the kids, so not working currently.
You are working currently.
Yes,
very hard.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Well, thinking even just about being in the helping space and helping professions, and obviously mothering, it's the primary helping space. Like, how have you seen needs change as you think about all those spaces?
Yeah. So in my current context, I was thinking about my kids and the fact that we're raising kids in this digital space, right? Like the use of cell phones and the tendency to get sucked in and kind of distanced from the actual world. So I see our kids and their friends needing connection. I don't know that they even see that, but as we're parenting them, I'm so aware they need connection and embodied relationship. I mean, I think being this much further down the road of life than they are and realizing how much hard comes, like they need the rootedness and the connectedness of relationship to get through.
Yeah.
And I think the challenge for parents at this current moment is battling that tendency to just escape because it's easy. And I mean, we all do it. We all zone and veg but I see it for this generation being a real challenge to then lose that connectedness to actual people in real time.
We 100% understand that.
Yeah.
And more social anxiety in the disconnectedness.
Yeah.
Well, so we meet with a lot of parents who have 4 kids.
Okay.
And over time, we've noticed that they ask 2 primary questions. First being, with 4, how do you prioritize time with each? Y'all are the experts.
We're total experts. And that's the thing we just want everybody to know as you're listening and we're watching, the 2 of you, that we're experts. No, I think we've tried, I mean, in the recent years, because our kids are older now, this is like our time with them. Is that kind of how we're prioritizing that?
Yeah. Making time for each kid, basically.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's pretty simply that. It's like trying to take them on little dates or, I mean, early on, that was easier when you've got just like 1 or 2. But then once you get the other ones, I think I've tried to do more when sports are happening. Like, what are those, like finding the little moments? It's almost like prayer. You know, we look at prayer as your quiet time. You've got your like one little moment. And I know that's important, but if prayer is this ongoing just withness, I think there are times that we try to like take them away or just do little things. And those are so beautiful, what happens in those moments. But I think we've tried to really be more like take advantage of those witness moments in the car on the way home when my son's so frustrated with how the practice went. Yeah, I think our hope is that we're intentional parents, I guess is probably the English way to say that. Yeah, I think that would be my answer for that. I mean, I think we try to take them away and do things just with them. Like we take them on a 13-year-old trip. So when each of them turns 13, they go wherever they want in the States. And that's been really fun. But I think the witness has kind of been important for both of us. Like that.
Yeah.
You agree?
I do. As they've gotten older and they have their own lives, we end up, at least in this season, being with either just 2 of them or just one of them. That's happened a lot more naturally. And so I think being attentive to being present when we do have that happen, because it's easy to choose not to be, but to talk about what's actually going on in their hearts rather than the just busyness of life and that level you can stay up here, but choosing to get down underneath to talk about what are you struggling with actually?
Yes.
How are you? Yeah.
Okay, continuing to think about 4 kids, how do you navigate their conflict with each other? They're getting along. And then even more so, how do you, or where have you seen ways to strengthen their relationship as siblings?
We have so much opportunity for that.
Yeah.
Our boys are closest in age. They're 2 years apart. And together all of the time, best friends and worst enemies. And so I think we're constantly jumping in, trying to help them navigate just fighting well. Because they're going to fight. I mean, this is the real world. So
yes.
But we try to speak into, you can be frustrated, but can we talk about expressing it this way. I mean, how often have we said, it's the way that you say it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right? You can say the thing you need to say, but it's the way that you say it. Like you come slamming into someone, or take a breath, take a step back and say, that really hurt my feelings, instead of coming with a punch, metaphorically.
And we say a lot of these things, and we're really smart, but we're really dumb to them. Like in those moments,
sure.
it's like,
Yes.
But it's like me if I'm frustrated in something, just come to me and say, Tim, it's taken me many years to be able to have the humility to go, okay, deep breath. How did I hurt you in this? Like to have the tools that we have.
Yes.
But in those moments, those kids do not have the tools, even though they're kind of giving them to them.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, I think we just keep like every time, like we'll come up and they'll do something dumb because they're wonderful humans, but they're just also
Teenagers.
Yeah. And I want to like correct it right there, which is just seems to really work well. It really has worked well. I'm being facetious. It does not work well at all in those moments. So I think in our sober moments of just not being crazy and going where they go, when I'm sober enough to not go in that space, we can kind of like sit back, help just kind of not let them kill each other, and then, come back around to it. But man, those are, I think we're getting better at those. I'll strike that. I'm getting better at those, like finding sobriety in those moments.
Not getting heated with them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think we have to remember we're parenting for their future. We're not going to see results right now. We're just not, especially when everyone's all upset.
Preach.
Yeah. But we get frustrated thinking like, you should know better. We've told you this 500 times.
Okay. And I know you guys are going to say that their brains aren't formed yet. And I know that, that's science. And I'm not much of a conspiracy guy, but I kind of think that one's a conspiracy. Not really. I was telling my friend this morning on a walk, I'm like, you guys, but they do this great when they're somewhere else. So
Right.
if you guys want
They
to help
will
me
do
out.
it for us.
I'm just
That's a great
saying
point.
that somebody somewhere is like, what we should tell parents? Their brains are not fully formed yet. And I'm like, yeah, because he can totally do it. I know it. So anyways, I kind of I want to believe that that's true. And I'm just going to trust that that's true from you cool people. So anyways, yeah.
We also, since they're older, we've told the olders that drive, anytime you take out a sibling, we'll pay. And that works wonders because they want to go out and do fun stuff. And so.
Yeah, if you just take one, like our son just started driving a few weeks ago, and it's like, hey man, anytime you want to take Aaron out, your brother or your sister, we'll pay for it. Like go just you two.
Cool, y'all.
Go do it. And they're so excited to just use that and use parents' money, like not like they don't already. I mean, how dumb is that? But yeah, that's been great. Our older daughter was doing that a bunch, and yeah, that's been a good one.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're going to take a little break to hear from one of our sponsors who makes this podcast possible.
Sissy, summer is here and you are officially living at the lake for a few months. How has it been?
I could live on our porch at the lake house. It's one of my favorite places thanks to Wayfair. They are responsible for our porch furniture, rugs, and so much more. There's no better place to go for outdoor furniture than Wayfair.
Wayfair's huge selection of outdoor essentials will help you make your outdoor space more comfortable, functional, and most importantly, more you. We just outfitted our front porch too. New rugs, new cushions, a new side table. June loves the new rugs on the porch so much she sometimes won't come inside.
Get your outdoor space ready today so you can enjoy it all season long. The site is so easy to navigate, free and easy delivery, even on the big stuff. No more huge delivery fees for patio furniture. Get big stuff like patio sets, gazebos, hot tubs, outdoor dining sets, and more shipped free.
There's something for every style and every home, no matter your space or budget.
Don't wait. Make your outdoor space your dream oasis today with Wayfair and enjoy it all summer long. Head to wayfair.com right now to shop a huge outdoor selection.
That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home.
David, what do you think of when I say the word nutrition?
Dairy. It's one of the 5 food groups we learned about in elementary school.
What kind of dairy are you enjoying these days?
Melted cheese. Okay, fine, it's queso, but it's kind of dairy.
Kind of. Let's talk about nutrition. Nutrition is not about dieting, but how you truly fuel your body day in and day out. Whether you're aiming for peak energy, managing specific health goals, or simply want to feel good in your body, what you eat is fundamental. It affects your energy levels, your mood, how well you sleep, and of course, your long-term health.
Queso makes me feel so good in the moment and not so good at bedtime.
So I've got an idea. Faye Nutrition connects you directly with registered dietitians, the real food and nutrition experts, for personalized nutrition counseling tailored specifically to you. And the best part is that all dietitians on Faye take insurance. So 95% of people pay $0 for their sessions. Yes, that's right, $0.
Our podcast is sponsored by Faye. Faye matches you one-on-one with a dedicated dietitian who will help you understand your body's unique needs. Your personal dietitian will work with you to create sustainable, evidence-based programs, not just quick fixes, to help you build healthy habits and achieve your health goals.
So whether you're trying to lose weight, dealing with low energy, digestive discomfort, managing conditions like PCOS or diabetes, navigating food allergies, cutting out too much queso, or you just want clarity amidst all the confusing diet noise, getting personalized guidance could be the foundational support you need.
At Faye, they believe expert nutrition counseling should be accessible to everyone. It's so simple to find a dietitian who fits your needs and to instantly check your insurance coverage before signing up. And like we said, the vast majority of people pay $0 for their sessions.
Having a personalized nutritionist used to cost big bucks, but not anymore with Faye. Listeners of Raising Boys and Girls can qualify to see a registered dietitian for as little as $0 by visiting faynutrition.com/RBG. That's FAY nutrition.com/RBG.
One last time, that's faynutrition.com/RBG. And make sure you use that URL so they know we sent you.
And now back to our show. Well, let's shift to cancer, the cancer diagnosis. In 2001, you were given 5 years to live. I didn't know all that. Would love for y'all to talk more about that and just how that has, I'm sure, impacted your family, your lives. Yeah.
Totally. Yes. I was having hot flashes and it was a wild season and we thought it was just menopause. That's what they told me. And that's not a thing apparently. And we went in and the ladies, our doctor, it was misdiagnosed a few times and she ended up saying, let's just check for this cancer thing. And we found out that it was a specific cancer and really rare tumorous cancer. And so that was, we were 2 years married, 3 years married?
Yeah.
3 years married. And yeah, that was quite a moment just for a young couple to be thrown that. Yeah, we'd both had other sorrows, but that was like, okay, this is now, what's 5 years look like? What's that sentence look like? So I think there was, talk about sobriety. That was, I wrote a blog called The Gift of Cancer. And in a little later in that season. But just perspective is like one of the greatest gifts there is. And even just the daily gift of we woke up today. You know, I write an X on my wrist every morning for past 15 years, I think.
Really?
And one of the reasons is just like I woke up again. Just stay sober today, not on the alcohol. Sure, that's great too, but just on life and worry and greed and all the things that I'm prone to. And the gift is like, just stay present to the humans in your life. Just stay present, like join Jesus today, like as if he's doing cool things. You woke up again. And tomorrow, who knows? So that's like been the greatest gift and like shift in my life, I think, has been 24. How many? 24 years?
Yeah, 24.
24 years of this cancer journey that is, it's incurable. So other than the hand of God, of course, but yeah, so it's like tumors haven't grown in a few years, but they're in my liver and they are supposedly wearing out my heart, but I keep waking up every morning. And so it's been really a hard and beautiful time. This season's actually kind of nice just because I'm tumors haven't grown. So we're just kind of hanging out right now. It's like really a good little season. But yeah, it's definitely shaped us tremendously.
Yeah, I remember hitting the point, because at first we're kind of sitting there going, okay, so you won't live very long.
Right.
And then once the years kept extending, we hit a place of like being able to say, we're grateful. I wouldn't change it, actually. And because of the change it made in us and the perspective, like Tim said, that it has given us, I mean, there's nothing like that for recognizing what really matters.
Yes.
And as other hard things have come along, there's just, I don't know, a resilience that God's built in us through it, and an ability to commiserate with other people's sufferings. I love having that kind of depth. And so we wouldn't change it. And we're just grateful. I mean, to sit 24 years out from a diagnosis that was supposed to be the end, incredibly grateful. And we had to talk about, do we have kids?
I'm sure.
Yes, we have to keep living. You live every moment of life you're given to the fullest. So,
That's the aim.
right.
Yeah,
Not that we do that perfectly,
Right.
but we
good
can
night.
very quickly come back to that bedrock of wisdom that God's built into us through it.
You've talked about how it changed the two of you. How would you say it impacted your kids?
Yeah, we told, I don't know, I'm sure somebody smart has written a book about that. Here's how you tell your kids about your cancer diagnosis.
Yeah.
I didn't read that book or get that book. And so we had a few of them. I don't even remember when it was. We'd had a few of the kids, a few of the 20. And I remember at some point, like thinking, we were talking about their friends pray for me. Like their actual cute friends would pray for me. And we hadn't told them yet about cancer. And every time we wanted to, somebody else would die from cancer that we knew. The C word would come up and somebody, it was like, that was not an awesome word. So how do you do that for these little cute humans who are just trying to figure life out and Cheerios and stuff,
Right.
And yeah, their friends were going to say something at some point. So we just decided, I remember we prayed, like, Jesus, would you open a door for this to happen? It was in a season when we stopped kind of working for God. We kind of said, you open doors for the rest of our lives. We'll just hang out with you and join you in whatever you do. And like, it was a big experiment for us to even go, Jesus, would you open a door? Like, what if you're real? Like, if you're actually real, what if you did that? We have a lot of questions about God, which is part of, we can talk about that.
Process.
Yeah, part of our process. And there's this really a few beautiful moments that just opened up out of nowhere for us to be able to share parts of our cancer journey with them, and enough, it's kind of like the sex talk, like he opened great doors for that to even happen, that we're like, how do we do this? It was similar to that in that he opened doors for us to then be able to just share little things. And I think they still think about it. We were talking to our kids yesterday, knowing we were coming on this. We were with two of them yesterday and asking them about, hey guys, how do you experience my cancer? Like, do you think about it much? And yeah, I think it hits them at different times in different ways. Like I'll have different bouts where I'll be in the hospital a ton, and they get pretty fearful of like, okay, is this it? Is Dad dying, or is he just, Yeah. So it's wild. I talk to a lot of parents that are trying to navigate this stuff.
I think it's both always been in the background for them since they were pretty young, but then reemerges. And maybe that's the case with anything hard, right?
Grief,
And
Development,
yeah. And so I think they re-experience it if he goes into the hospital, and we have to talk about, how are you in this? Have you had any thoughts about what this means? And so we just continue to navigate it with them in real time as it comes up. But it's also, I think they feel the kind of grace of just the time they've been given, and that it doesn't have to right now be urgent. It may at some point, but yeah, they navigate it pretty well. And also it comes up.
I can't even imagine what your kids will be like having walked through all of that, the depth that they will have, the character they will have, the hope that they will know. I mean, they will be different human beings.
So I will say this. You just saying that. So there was this study that George Barna did before he kind of stopped doing stuff. It was like a pet project that he did. And I don't even think it made it out anywhere, but it was talking about how do people actually become true embodied followers of the way of Jesus? Like people who actually, not just Christian people, but people that start to look like the way and the heart of Jesus. Like, how does that happen? Like, what's the shift? And he had this, had studied 20,000 people and had this list of 10 things, ways that people would end up at this place where they would look like Jesus and start becoming more and more intimately involved with the way of Jesus. And at the end, number 9 was it was a true relationship with Jesus. Number 10 was the pinnacle was how they loved one another. It was actually such a cool, it was like, wow. Oh gosh, it's powerful. But halfway through, the first 5 stages were kind of just like what the Harvest Crusade would talk about. Like you have sin in life and Jesus comes to do this. And then it got to a place of, oh gosh, I wish I had it right in front of me. But it got to a place of their kingdoms being broken, their kingdoms being shattered, and their queendoms being shattered. It was like that they had to get to a place of like deep, true sorrow. And without that place of sorrow, they could never get beyond a surface idea, notion, understanding, relationship with God. Like beyond that, there was nothing else. So I think a lot of Christianity, a lot of my younger life, we just kind of see the first 5 stages and we go, cool, we made it. People said the decision and we're in.
Yeah.
But this pain and sorrow, it was like the only way to really knowing the real Jesus was through pain, through suffering, and their kingdoms being torn down and his becoming the main thing. Wow. And I remember I was standing in a line, I just played music and there was a line of people just coming and, signing things. And somebody came up to me, it was right before we told our kids, and they said, how have your kids known about this cancer? This was a long time ago. Or how have they processed this, kind of like your question. And all of a sudden, I just heard that whole talk from Barna, and it hit me in that moment that what if the only way that our kids could know the real Jesus is through pain and suffering? And everything I do is to try to make them not suffer, not go through pain, keep them as comfortable as possible. That's what I want for myself. And that's like my aim in life. But it was like, no, what if that's not the aim in life? What if the aim in life is actually let these things, join Jesus and all these things, but for them, they have to go through this. And what if my cancer, as stupid and dumb as that is, and whether I live or die, what if that is just one of the things that invites them into this bigger story to actually know Jesus, not just about him, because most of us just know about him, but to know him through the suffering. Ooh. Gosh, I had to leave my line. I get teared up. I couldn't, I just cried. I literally left. It's well, where'd that weirdo go, But that is really profound just for anybody, but for our kids' sake. And I think even thinking about pain for our kids and suffering as a gift,
Yes.
an actual gift. Not that we need to ask for it because it's already coming. Wait a week, it's coming. But welcoming it.
Well, and it was out of that season that we started talking about a theology of suffering. That would be a gift we could give to our kids. I remember, thinking, I wish I had been given this because it is coming. The heart is coming for all of us to some degree or another at some point. And so, we started talking a lot about what if we lean into this, whatever it looks like. I know in my own pain around Tim's diagnosis, and I had a lot of years of wrestling with God, kind of about the whole problem of evil, the problem of suffering, and not just in my own story, but watching a lot of friends go through some pretty horrific things. And I think realizing and experiencing Jesus with me was what got me through, like the reality of him being with and near. And then if we could give that to our kids, that's something, right? So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I
Both of
know.
you. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. I feel like we could turn off the thing right now. And it's just such, it's been such encouragement to me. So thinking about the witness and shifting to what God is doing in you while you're still here, which I'm so grateful for. I mean, thinking about 10,000 minutes, which is one of the many things that you are bringing to the world, and the fact that it's about joining Jesus all week long.
Yeah.
So will you talk about the work you're doing in that space and how we can learn from it?
I had this incredible human named Sissy Goff on my podcast. I don't want to brag about it, but that was all selfish. That was like, I told you, I'm like, just so you know, I don't care if anybody else hears this. This was like a gift for Hilary and I, just have you in my house just to say, okay, here's how I need help with, but we need help. Yeah. So thank you.
You were doing so many cool things in that space.
Yeah. There are 10,080 minutes in a week. You're smarter now. Tell your kids that. It's really a powerful thing to teach kids. 10,080 minutes in a week. I had spent, I'd been a church staff in California, these really awesome, ginormous communities, and it was great, but everything was focused on the 80 minutes that we gather a week. Yeah. Everything is focused. I mean, think about all the resources in Jesus culture is about the 80 minutes that we gather. And if there are 10,080 minutes, as I left those cultures, it was like, oh, there are 10,000 other minutes until we gather again. I'm awesome in those 80 minutes. My kids are even awesome in those 80 minutes. It's like, they're like blessing people, whatever, but they're in the 10,000 minutes. I think that's when the stuff hits the fan. That's when, if Jesus people could look like Jesus in the 10,000 minutes and less in the 80 minutes and more in the 10,000 minutes, then we'd have a really different society. We'd have really different kids. We'd have really different parents. We'd have a really different workplace. We'd have really different people in politics.
Yes.
And just how we politic, And so, I mean, the kingdom of God has its own political system, which is the way is love. That's the politic is love, the law. And so we're just trying to figure out, how do we join Jesus well in the 10,000 minutes? Just with the day that I've got. I woke up today. He woke us up today. I think Hill and I worked for God for so many years, and it was exhausting. And we quit working for God. It was like, this sucks. And so we decided we'll never work for him again. We'll just join him. So if he wants to do cool things, great. If he wants to open doors, he gets to open doors, and we'll just join him in that. So that's really the basis of 10,000 minutes. Then we've got 20,000 people on this text thread that we send out, like Jesus principles that we just encourage people. Bless your enemy. Like, let's pray for enemies this week. Wow. I will pray for certain people in politics that that I need to pray for because I would have other thoughts about them. But as a Jesus follower, I don't get to put those names on them. I get to be the one who's a blesser. Like, that's my role. Like, how cool of a God is that? I'll follow that guy any day.
Yeah.
So 10,000 minutes is just like, what if Jesus people put these words into practice? So that's kind of what we did as a couple and some friends of ours. And then we started this thing called 10,000 Minutes, just a nonprofit. And then now we do podcasts, and we're doing a bunch of other things coming up soon. So yeah, it's really been like, there's a cool story where I'll just share on a parenting thing that my son, he was being made fun of at school, as they do. And his kids are kind. Yeah. And he was being made fun of, and these kids were calling him fatty. This one guy was like, "You're so fat, you can't get this water bottle." So he'd take his water bottle and run away. And I wore husky pants as a kid, so I know the feeling. Husky pants, husky brand. Anybody? Okay. So he told me this one day. I'm like, okay, number one, where's this kid live? What's his dog's name? And what bus does he ride? Because I'm going to go find him and show him some stuff, or give the dog some chocolate or something. And I wouldn't do that. I wanted to. And so I was so pissed. And I'm like, okay, buddy, I want to tell you to go hit this kid straight in the face. Because that is like, keep saying that to my son. You just don't mess with my kid. But I said, buddy, what's the practice that we're practicing this week with 10,000 minutes? He's like, praying for our enemy? I'm like, yeah. Man, this is probably more for me than it is for you in this. But what if we just I don't know, the kid may not even change, but what if you and I might even change by putting this into practice? So we just started praying for this kid. And for the next 2 weeks, we just, anytime we could, we were like, okay, we pray for this kid, pray for his blessing. And, he'd have a good day today, whatever. And a few weeks later, Noah came home and he's like, Dad, I did it. I'm like, you hit him? And he said, no, he took my water bottle and said, you're so fat, you can't get it. And I stood up and said, don't call me that again. That's not who I am. And I want my water back, please. And the kid's like, okay. And gave him his water back, just classic recess time. But we learned some stuff. We could have just, I don't know, done a paper mache David and Goliath thing and put it up on our fridge and gone, oh, it's a good thing. Got, Or we put the words of Jesus into practice and see what happens. Yes. And I learned way more than Noah learned that season. Just going, look, even then, the way of Jesus works. What if we older people learned about from that? So that's kind of the reason why we do what we do. So I'm a musician. That's how I make money, and I travel and do that. But even that, my purpose in it is to give songs and prayers. I call them more prayers that we can pray all week long, that aren't just to pray in the gathering, but that would shape us into these representers of the way of Jesus. So that's kind of the whole basis of what we do. I think why I keep waking up is to do that. So when I get a record deal, it's awesome. I love music, but I actually more love inviting the church and disrupting the church and inviting this into this bigger story. So, yeah.
And we're grateful you do.
Yeah, we are.
We've benefited from that.
Yeah, thank you, David.
Well, let's talk music too. So this is our Music City season.
Okay.
And would love to start by just asking you, what's been a music highlight when you think about your career?
Ooh. Man, so many things just went straight through my brain. The first song I wrote for my sister just popped through my head. I think playing at certain venues has popped in my head, even playing at the Ryman. That's one of my dream venues. And I remember playing there and all the sound going out. And it's the perfect time. Your dream to play at this place, and then the sound goes out, and you're just standing on stage. And I got to sing, do this call and response thing with perfect room. Cool. It was an arena tour, but the only time it went out was in the Ryman. So that was a highlight.
Well, and it ended up being so much more intimate and interactive because that happened. It was such a beautiful, sacred experience.
Wow.
Yeah, let's go back. Yeah, I think that, having a few songs that have the story of the song, Even If, that's coming out as a movie that I'm sure we'll talk about in a sec.
Yes.
But the story of that song is one of my favorite stories that's, I think, in my music career, probably. So, quick. I had written this song years back, and I remember going to my record label saying this song is great. They're like, it's not that good. And I'm like, well, you're dumb. Some really mature response. But I don't work for God anymore, so I just said, Jesus, this can just be my prayer. That's what this will be. And then a little later, one of my best friends is this guy named Bart from a band called Mercy Me. And I had this sense that the song was for him, but I would never go to my friend saying, hey, man, I think you got a song. I've got a song you should cut. That's just kind of gross. I'd rather be friends and live in a relational place versus, whatever. So I just said, Jesus, if that's something that you want to do, then you open that door. And Bart was in my studio. We were about to do a podcast, and he starts crying about this, his son's diabetes, and they just had a bad appointment. And he starts saying the words of this chorus that he had never heard verbatim. It was I felt like somebody was punking me in the room,
Wow.
And I just said, at the end, I said, man, maybe this is just a song that you and I get to pray together just as friends. But I just would love for you to hear the song. So then we rewrote the song, and we're at the Grammys, sitting at the Grammys, and it's I didn't have to do anything for this. I just showed up and let God open cool doors as if it's his kingdom, not mine. And look at this. I'm sitting at like my other dreams to be at the Grammys. And now there's a whole movie being made about this song and our lives. And it's like,
that is wild.
It is so wild. But the best part about it is that I did not have to open doors or make out with anybody to get what I wanted. You know what I mean? Because I'm really good at that. I can kind of schmooze but it's just like, no, we just let God open cool doors. What's best for his kingdom. And then after this, Hill and I are going to watch some of the filming of this movie that's
today.
Yeah, today.
Wow, y'all, that's so cool.
It's like
incredible.
Wow.
So that's like a highlight that sounds like a music highlight, but it's more of a like I can breathe deep and know that God's doing cool things.
Yeah.
And if I'm just supposed to work at Starbucks, then we'll do that. And for some reason, he wants this to happen for this season, and awesome. So that's like
right. Well, and the centerpiece, what's important about that story is the connection between you and Bart in that moment in your studio. Like we did deep life with them. We were in a small group together. And it's that carrying of each other's burdens, right? Like that's what it came down to.
Yeah.
And then all these really beautiful things have come out of it. But that connection around deep pain, and that's what life is about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hilary, do you have a favorite song or project that Tim's been a part
I'm curious about this.
I do. So he wrote this album, Cast My Cares, lots of years ago. So we were at this church on staff. We left there in a kind of a painful way. And he had been writing all those songs in that season and had done a Kickstarter, and it just kind of catapulted him into this place of being signed unexpectedly to do that album. But because I know him intimately and all that went into the writing of those songs, I mean, when we moved here, so from that painful leaving of that church, which was our entire spiritual community, and you think those things aren't supposed to end, and so all the pain of that leaving, we moved here to Nashville, and our middle son just completely fell apart. I was grieving, relationships of 10, 20 years long and feeling lonely. And I mean, that album for me, I would go on runs when we moved here, lonely, grieving, and just listen to that album. And I mean, those are like true instances of Jesus being with through those lyrics. I mean, it'll make me cry over and over for months and years, just being ministered to by, the things I knew he had processed through some of that same pain. And so I got the blessing of such a personal gift, being so close to him. But I mean, how great that that's what music does for people too. How many hearts he gets to help lift with Jesus in that way. But I've definitely benefited from that. That would be my favorite album for sure.
I can't wait to listen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
that record's for people that are questioning or just having a hard day. Man, that record knows sorrow really well and joy. Yeah.
Well, even using your words of just what music does, let's talk for a minute about Anchor Hymns, a project we both love that you've been a part of. And will you talk some more about just what you would say is the importance of worship?
Yeah.
And even especially hymns for the world we're living in right now.
Yeah. I mean, to me, I think these songs are used to shape our understanding of a God that's bigger than we can imagine. And I think my hope and what I see in these songs and even the old hymns is they're just shaping us. They're used more than even just words or scripture at times to shape how we see God and each other. That's why I love writing those things. But the Anchor Hymns has been such a cool project just because I love being that with other people.
Yeah.
And writing these things with other people. I'm probably not answering your question, but I think one of the things that I love about hymns actually is that hymns are less personal and just emotional. There's something that I think is helpful in our current worship climate, that we can get really lathered up and all really excited about these songs that we're singing. But I think God might be going like, man, I'm glad you guys are getting really excited about this, but I just need you to love one another. Like if we can just do that, then we can sing these songs. If these are shaping us into seeing me as who I am, I'm the solid rock, and that we're in this together versus it's just my own little fireside relationship with God. I love that about hymns, that it feels like a collective. We, the community, are being this. We are the blessers because He is blessing. We, this community, get to be the blessers for. I mean, it's even Israel. The idea that Israel was just, it was just for them. They were the real, they were the blessed community, so that they would just be the blessed community. That was such a small view, but they were the blessed community so that they would be the monument for the rest of the world and be the blessers of everyone around them. But they took it so insular and were like, no, we're awesome. Let's just stay real holy and awesome right in our little thing. I think we've just become so me-focused. And not like, this is a communal thing, that we are being saved as a community. We are a community who's like healing one another. Like, that's the whole Bible. So I love that about the old hymns. And I love writing in a community that we're saying, we are going to be this together. We are the blessers of this world together. And sharing our stuff. And yeah, that's a bigger answer than you asked for. But
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like we have so many things that we want everybody that's listening to check out that y'all are a part of.
Yes.
And can we jump back to the movie for just a second?
Yeah.
Because Milo,
Yeah.
Ventimiglia,
Yeah. Yes. Money. You said it
did it.
so well.
playing you.
Yes.
And I don't know who's playing you.
Yes. So Ariel Kebble,
Okay.
she was in Gilmore Girls as
No.
well, which Milo was
No.
way back.
Who was she?
She was Rory's first boyfriend, Dean, his wife. He eventually,
Wow.
She's
Yeah.
in some Hawaii thing.
yeah,
now,
she's
and-
been in
yeah.
much
Like,
more than that since.
Y'all,
But
I mean, what's it like having your life in film?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Can't even imagine.
I can't either.
Like, yeah, can only
It's-
imagine.
I can only imagine what you said. Yeah. Cute. Yeah. We went to filming last night and the night before. And
So it's
just,
happening here.
yeah, it's happening here in
Cool.
Nashville. It's just bizarre. Yeah.
Oh.
Milo's like become a really great friend. He's just this beautiful human that I'm just more excited to have a really great friend on the other side of this. But
Wow.
yeah, we were in the factory, which is this like place with a bunch of stores, everybody. And people would come up to him and, this guy's like, hey, can I get your autograph? And the way that he was like, yeah, totally. But like, what's your name? That's who you want in the world.
Yeah.
Loving people instead of thinking you're all awesome. Like, let's just be friends. Like, he's so personable. And so I said, man, if you just keep that going on, I don't care what you do. That's the hope. Like, he is looking through the list of all the staff or all the cast or all the crew of this thing, which there are hundreds of people on the crew. And he goes through and like remembers their names, and then he'll cross their name off. Like, okay, I know Chris, I know Adam, just to know the people. Like, that's just beautiful. Like, those are the people that you want to be with, and then portraying you.
Yeah.
So, anyways, yeah, it's pretty wild.
yeah, very surreal.
Very
Yes. And do they spend time with you and kind of study how you interact? And so they
Yeah.
how
Tim has had lots of conversations with Milo. I've talked with Ariel over Zoom, and so kind. She just asked, is there anything I can do to honor who you are, especially in your relationship with Tim? And
Wow.
I mean, amazing. It's been so fun to get to see the behind the scenes of how movies are even made,
Yes.
but also how seriously actors take their craft and work at. Yeah, it's been kind of a really fun and beautiful process and doesn't feel real.
And not everything in it is really our story. Like, it feels like an alternate universe of our story. It's like all the heart of all the things that are happening are a yes, but there are things that like, well, it didn't happen exactly like that.
Sure.
Like we don't have kids in this movie where Bart's kids are all in the movie and our kids and Bart's kids are the best friends.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just different things that are different. But it's also Hilary's happy because you feel like.
Yeah, I kind of feel like I get to hold on to my actual story and keep that kind of sacred for myself. But then this version, which is very true to the heart of what we've lived,
Yes.
gets to be put out there and help
Beautiful way to say
encourage
that,
people. Yeah, it's been kind of, I've liked that.
And I'm much better looking now. You know what I mean? I keep going, honey, you know that you're married to like a guy that doesn't even look like Milo at all, but like is being played by Milo, right? So that's really gone well in our marriage. You know what I mean? So she hasn't really responded well to that. Well, another thing is my daughter, they love Gilmore Girls so much.
Oh,
so,
wow.
I mean,
I bet they
duh.
are
And
losing
Team
their
Jess.
minds.
I told one of them and she like just starts crying. And I'm like, honey,
Bawling.
I love the tears.
That
But,
is
like,
so good.
Think about now, it's like your dad. That's your dad.
Wow.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, really fun.
yeah, we're doing great. We're doing really
and
great.
when's it release?
It was March of 26, and now I think it might be late February of 26.
Okay. Wow.
So
Cannot wait to see
Is that
it.
crazy?
me
I know.
too.
So I can only imagine 2. I think it's called Even If. So
Now we're friends with Bart and Sheen, and we're just going to go ahead and say publicly we want to be invited to the premiere.
let's go. It's
Yeah.
done. It's already done.
Okay.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yes. $20.
Okay.
Just
great.
a quick
we got
Venmo.
it.
Yep.
We can pay you on the way out.
No, you guys, you are beautiful people who are helping so many. I just know all of our friends,
Mm.
and well done. We've had 3 of our kids
Thank
come
you.
through here, and so thankful.
Yes.
And I'm sure everybody who's listening and the 2 people who are watching are so thankful for you guys and the work that you're doing and your curiosity on things. And it's like we just need so much help. We're all just trying to figure it out. I'm trying not to use any word that has ed at the end of it these days. I'm trying to
Yes.
use words with ing at the end. Like I figured this out. No, I'm figuring this out. I'm processing this. I've learned, I'm learning. And you guys like are the epitome of that and helping us like learn and grow and process. So well done.
Yes. Thank you.
As a couple and 2 parents, well done.
Wow.
You too.
It is a joy to sit with the 2 of you.
You are a
As
delight.
we knew it would be.
Yeah.
Both of you.
Thank you.
Goodness, it's so good to be with
I
you.
know.
And we don't want this to end,
I know.
but we are going to respect your time so you can go be a part of the filming.
Got some pretty big time things
you
to do.
do
you
That's
big
guys.
the
things
truth.
to head toward.
Yes.
We end every episode with something fun and food related.
Yes.
So we've got a
We
2-part
love food.
question for you.
Ugh.
Part 1 is queso or guac. Part 2 is what's your favorite taco?
Coming from California, y'all had you had better choices out there, but we're working on
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Working.
I mean, I think I know your answer.
You do?
Go,
Between
Hilary.
queso and guac?
Yeah.
Which one?
Guac.
Guac.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will lather my body with guacamole.
yes.
That is like
we
the
love
gift
the avocado.
that keeps
in
on
California.
giving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you?
We've made out a lot.
That seems to be a theme for you, Tim.
I'm just saying.
So good.
You get guacamole and Milo or Tim. Sorry, same dip. Yeah, guac. And then tacos. Tacos are just what God would eat.
What was the question about
Who
the
cares?
favorite?
favorite
Yeah.
taco? Oh, there's too many.
Mm.
Favorite taco?
Gosh, yeah, but we're from the Californias,
Right.
which is just kind of so close to the Mexico. So, but I guess so is Texas.
Yeah.
But I'm not generally a huge
Tex-Mex.
Tex-Mex fan, but I'll do it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll eat anything. Guacamole, I'll eat anything.
I love a brisket taco.
Ooh.
I do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Fish? Anybody into fish tacos?
I like
Yes.
fish tacos. Yeah.
Yes.
But the question is, have you met a taco you don't like?
Valid.
Right?
I haven't actually.
Never.
No.
So good.
Y'all, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Such a fun conversation.
Such
Very
a fun
good.
conversation.
Let's go. We'll see you at the premiere.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
David, what a team we have that we get to call friends who help make this podcast possible. Chris Starrett, our engineer,
our management team at KCH.
and we are thrilled to be a part of the That Sounds Fun network.
Our music was created by the insanely talented Dave Haywood of Lady A.
And if this podcast felt helpful to you, please consider subscribing, liking, sharing, all the things.
We are grateful for you and cheering you on always.